Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Smart Money Sundays. Hope y'all are doing well. I'm just going to go over a few pairs with you guys today. We only have about 2 weeks of trading left. Come mid-December, trading volume will diminish, and we will go into a period where there will be low volume and not a lot of movement. So we have about 2 weeks left of trading, and then we will be on break until about mid-January, and then we'll start back up again for 2021. So let me first start off with the DXY here. I'm going to give you a little top down on what's going on. So really, this is our last point of return, okay? As you can see, we accumulated in price here, as talked about on previous Smart Money Sunday videos. All right, we sprung, and then we push all the way back down, taking all this liquidity down here, okay? We broke to the upside, but we ended up pushing back to the downside, okay? So the momentum is to the downside. We are in a bearish market overall, but this is really our last point of return. This is our last demand level that price has come into that needs a reaction. So we can see on a lower time frame that we are accumulating a little bit in here. Okay, now we have to spring here. If we don't spring and we close below this level here, then we're going to be going short. And the economic data coming out really for the dollar and really what's going on around the world, the dollar really could push a lot lower. So this could just be a false accumulation or a redistribution for another push to the downside. So we'll have to monitor this to start the week. But if we close below this blue box I have drawn, then we already go short. Now, if we close really above this level here, this is our last swing point. If we get a closure above this level, I will be looking for any sort of retest to continue long. Okay, because that counter trend then will be broken, and we will be looking to go higher. So keeping that in mind, let's go to Euro USD. So Euro USD is sort of in the same situation. So we came back into this supply level here. Just zoom out so I can show you. Supply level, okay, we're into that supply level right now as the DAXY is in that demand level. We can see we have distributed in price and we sprung and we broke structure. Now this is really just a test. It's really just a channel back to the upside, as you can see. Then what we're looking for is simply just a test of this supply level. Maybe one quick fake out, take liquidity, and then we're looking for that fall. So that dollar strength is what we're looking for. But if the dollar closes below this level here, as indicated before, then price will obviously continue long. All right. So now, how do we trade this? Well, as you can see, way up here, we have this supply level. This supply level is on really the daily, weekly time frame. So this is the higher time frame supply level. All right. We have not tested that yet. All right, we still have imbalance in here. This is really the last, distribution region before the big downfall. Okay, so this test, this run up, could be just a test of this level. The last buying volume in here before the sell-off. So we may push higher. And as you can see, let me just get rid of all this stuff. As you can see in here, the closure last week was pretty substantial. It is a Marubozu closure, no wick to the upside here, and we closed above all of this region of price. Okay, so we easily could continue long. I will be looking for initial shorts on this to start the week, but any closure above this blue box, we will continue and we will hit that 1.2250, 1.23 level. All right, so if we do that, then we will be looking for excuses to buy, any pullbacks for retracements to be buying. So just giving you basically just a top-down analysis on these pairs. Obviously, the lower time frames are what we're going to have to look at as the week progresses. But to start the week, I just want to give you just a directional bias of what we're looking at. All right, so moving on, that was EU. We're going to go to EJ. EJ is sort of in the same ballpark as EU. So if EU breaks to the upside, EJ will follow suit. And we can see that, yes, we are in a bearish market here, okay? Short-term bearish market, but we are in a higher time frame uptrend. We can see on a higher time frame that we came into this last demand level, taking this liquidity in here, as you can see with this wick. All right, so this is really the last, sort of demand level here. You go down to lower time frames, we can see that we have imbalance. So could we push back down in here? Yeah, we could for an overall retracement. A higher time frame, we're long. So we can see that the swing points, higher high, higher low, higher high. This could easily just be a higher low, and we may get a higher high now. All right, so we may get that third drive, one drive, two drive, three, and then the overall retracement. So we really should be looking for long opportunities because we are in a higher time frame uptrend on this pair. We can see last week. We did have a nice closure here, engulfed the previous 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 candles, almost 6 weeks worth of price action. All right. So going back down to a lower time frame, what can we see? Well, we have sort of created this inverse head and shoulders pattern. Right? We can see the zone in here, prior support, resistance, support, support, resistance, support in here. We have reacted off that and we have pushed. All right, so what I'm expecting is if we can get any sort of retracement back down into that 123.4, 123.3 level, and then we will be looking for buys to continue long on this. All right, so that is EJ's giving you an overall direction. We still should be looking for buys. We are above all the EMAs along with that. So next, I'm going to go to CAD Chef. CAD Chef is very interesting. CAD Chef is something we've talked about on the prior videos. The reason why is because we've been in a consolidation, so we really haven't had much movement in terms of this pair. So higher time frame, we are looking at sort of this imbalance right in here to be filled. Okay, we can see that we are making higher highs, higher lows. Okay, this sell to buy, we mitigated here. Okay, we pushed up, making a higher high, sweeping all this liquidity. All right, so higher high, higher low, higher high, looking for that higher low, and then a higher high. We are above the daily 50 EMA. We have this supply region here. It really extends to this whole candle, and we can see that we have not touched that yet. But I'm focusing on the imbalance in here. All right, so about 0.712 will be my overall target. Now scaling into a lower time frame, we can see the trend. All right, so higher high, higher low, higher high, looking for that higher low. Now I do believe that price, if we're going to have another push to the upside, we have to sweep all this liquidity in here. Okay, price isn't just going to push up. Okay, when it has a massive move, it has to build the orders in order to push up higher. Okay, so we're going to sweep all the liquidity, get everyone out of the market first, and then we'll push higher. So a proper entry could be around that 0.692 level, really just in and around this last selling volume before the big buy up. So it could be about a 1 to 5 risk to reward, 40 pip stop, about a 200 pip take profit, looking at 0.712 as target, the higher time frame supply level. All right, so that is CAD Chef, just looking for a quick push down, and then we'll look to buy. Next, GBP USD. GBP USD, I am still looking for longs. Okay, so pound is still quite strong, and dollar is looking quite weak. So any excuse to be pushing up higher would be expected. Now, we did have a trade, I believe, last week. I don't think we called it on the signal chat, but we did talk about it. The reason why we didn't call much signals last week was because of the holiday week. Volume was low. There wasn't much movement. But we did end up catching, this could have been, let's see, that was a 1 to 3.6, just up to that level. Up to here is probably like a 1 to 10, 1 to 12. All right, so scaling out to this, we can see that we are in a massive uptrend. Okay, we have swept all this liquidity in here, sell to buy, and we're looking at taking relatively equal highs in here. Okay, this is 2019 high as described earlier. Right, so we are looking for a continued push up. We are above all EMAs here. We're looking to sweep all this liquidity. If we are going to push to the downside, I believe that we have to take this liquidity and this liquidity here first. All right, so scaling into lower time frames, what can we see? Well, we have to identify the lower time frame trend. Obviously, the higher time frame trend is to the upside. The lower time frame trend is still to the upside. So we should only be looking for buys. You can see higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, relatively equal high, higher low, higher high. So now what we're looking for is maybe just a little bit of dollar strength to start to sweep all the liquidity in here. So one more push to the downside, and then we'll look for that buying opportunity. We may come back down into this previous swing point in here because we do have a little bit of an imbalance right in there. We may come back down to our original entry point. We'll have about a 25 pip stop. I don't expect price to come lower than this, because if it does, then we will be breaking this counter trend right in here. Okay, so this is our nearest swing point. This is our higher high. We have relatively equal highs in here, so we should be taking that. I'll just draw this up for you so you can see. Relatively equal highs in there. So any push down, really to test this last point of return. Higher high, higher low, higher high, looking to take all the liquidity, testing this region of price around 1.323. We'll be looking for longs to take out this liquidity, and then higher time frame liquidity way up here at 1.3515. All right, so it's higher time frame directional bias for you. Not really anything I see on a lower time frame. Obviously, that could change within a matter of hours or a matter of days. But for the purpose of this video, we are just looking at directional bias for the week ahead. All right, so that is GBP USD. Next one I want to go over is GBP CAD. GBP CAD is quite interesting. I really do like this. So GBP CAD, we go look at a higher time frame. We have been in this massive up channel here. Okay, and I do believe we are bound to start pushing down now because we can see lower low, lower high, lower low. This is just an extended pullback, lower high, looking for that lower low to really sweep higher time frame liquidity all in here. Okay, because what we did, we had equal highs. We ran the equal highs with this push. We fell, broke structure, pulled back. Then we started to create the downtrend. Okay, so now we're looking at lower prices. Obviously, pound is still strong, but I do believe because oil is quite strong as well, the Canadian dollar will strengthen as a result. All right, we can see that XXX CAD is pushing down on all pairs, so we are looking for that CAD strength. Could be a great excuse to push this a lot lower, sweep all this liquidity in here, because we haven't taken any liquidity here, 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 or here. So I do think we have to have one final push up to test, and then we'll die and start to push down from there. All right, so let's go to a lower time frame. We can see that on the 4-hour time frame, we had 50% of this last up close candle. So this was a run on liquidity. We took all the liquidity in here. Okay, all that liquidity we took, buy to sell 50% of that candle. We came into that perfectly to the T. All right, so what I'm thinking is that we come up either to this last 4-hour up close, or I believe it is the 2-hour candle. Yep, 2-hour last buy before the big sell-off. We can see that we pushed up strongly, reacted from that level, and then died. Okay, so the reaction from that level is what's indicating to me that we are looking to go lower. And from a short-term standpoint, we can see the lower time frame structure, higher highs and higher lows, and we can see that break in structure right in here. Okay, so any pullback to really take this liquidity here and these equal highs in here, coming back up into these sort of levels around 1.74435, 1.7456 would be good for shorts. Could be in for a great risk to reward on this. So keeping an eye on this is what I'm going to be doing to start the week to see if we can get any sort of pullback, take up liquidity, and then look to get into the market to sell off for the remainder of the week. All right, so that is GBP CAD. A few more for you. CAD Chef JPY. Chef JPY, we are looking for continued shorts on this. We have relatively equal lows right in here. Okay, so relatively equal lows needs to be taken out. We can see that we came into this sort of supply region here. Okay, why is this a supply region? Well, let's figure it out. We had a distribution schematic. Okay, we had that buying climax secondary test. We had the spring, the break of structure. As you can see here, we had the test, sweeping liquidity, came into this last supply level. We fell, made a lower low. So this was just an overall pullback in the market. All right, this is really our last point of return, really this last buying volume in here. Okay, we came up, we tested that, and we fell, breaking structure here, lower low. This is our lower high. And let me just get rid of all this stuff now. Zoom in, perfect. Okay, we had that last run on liquidity, taking these highs in here. Finally, just took them. See, we did not close above this. Okay, this is a swing point. 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 We did not close above this region of price, indicating to me that this was just a run on liquidity, and now we're going to continue lower and take out all this liquidity here. Okay, so what do I want to see? I just want to see a quick test to come up a little higher, sweeping these relatively equal highs. We did have a trade from these two levels in here, but we never got that final push. And so I do believe now we are going to finally see that filling up in balance, and on a lower time frame, there is a buy to sell within this wick, looking at a potential 1 to 12.72 and a 1 to 5 on that trade right there. All right. Now, in the short term, we can be looking for potential buying opportunities. Now, you can see in here that we are still in this short-term uptrend. So we are looking for shorts around these sort of levels. But if we can pull back within these sort of supply and demand levels, we will be looking at continued buys up until these levels. So what do we have? Well, we have higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, sweeping this liquidity here. Now we kind of broke counter trend structure here. If we can just get an overall pullback back down into this sort of last demand level, we can see 1, 2, 3 pin pattern. All right, so this was the demand, creating that indecision after sweeping the liquidity, came down, test these orders, and then we can look to buy it up. And then from these levels, we'll look to short it off. All right, so we'll just see how price reacts from these levels, as mentioned, and we'll look to take trades based off of that. All right, now it's not just simply placing limits, guys. All right, we don't just place limits and just hope that they'll react the way we want it to. We have to wait for the reactions and look for specific things within those reactions that will give us the indication that, okay, we are going to push up higher, or no, we're going to break and continue lower. And that is what we teach in the VIP and the course. So very, very, very important to understand, could significantly help in your consistency and profitability. And we've had nothing but great reviews on the course right now. This is our last day for our promo for a while. So if you are interested, just please shoot us a DM. We'll be happy to set you up with that. All right, so short-term buys and then long-term sells on this is what we're expecting. Obviously, we want to wait for the reactions, and then we can take a trade or not take a trade, depending on what we get. All right, so that is Chef JPY. Two more, USD Chef. USD Chef, now if we are going to see that dollar strength come in, and we can see that USD Swiss correlates well with the dollar index. We can see the accumulation. I know this is a daily, it's better seen on the 4 hour, but we can see the accumulation here. We pushed up, we came back down, tested one more time. We actually swept the liquidity in here, but we never broke structure. Okay, that's the only thing. We never broke structure in there. If we had have gotten that push and a break, then I would expect the test of this demand level in here, as noted, this candle, we swept liquidity, 1, 2, 3 pin pattern engulfing, all right, creating that last indecision, that last demand level. Then that would be a great buy opportunity. But since we did not break, I will be looking to see reactions from this sort of level, because we are in that daily time frame demand. 4 hour time frame, we are entering that sort of region. So what do I want to see? Well, lower time frame, 1 hour time frame, we are starting to accumulate in price. All right, we are starting to accumulate. So if we can get maybe one drive further down to sweep liquidity from last week, and then we have a break of structure and close above this level, then I will be looking for any pullback to continue long higher on this pair. All right, but as we can see, the dollar index is still shorting off, and we could be in for a bigger short off in the near future. So this could just continue lower. All right, daily time frame, higher time frame, we are below, we are below the daily 50 EMA. 0.883650 is our demand level for this pair as well. We can see the imbalance in here that price created. We pushed up, we sold off, we pushed up, we never tested this as support. So we could come back down and finally test sort of this region of price down in here. All right, so we are still looking for shorts, but I will be keeping longs in the back of my mind just in case on a lower time frame we do see that spring from the lower time frame accumulation, as we can see in here. Because higher time frame, this is a demand level. If we break through it and close below it, then obviously USD Chef will continue short, Euro USD will continue long. So this is why we just have to wait for reactions and get the proper impulse in our direction, and then we'll look for the pullback and continue long. If not, we'll look to short it. So that is USD Chef. I know I'm talking fast. I just have a lot of pairs to go over. As always, if you have any questions, please let us know. We'll be happy to help with any of this. This is really just for directional bias. So if you have any specific questions regarding lower timeframes, please just send us a DM. We'll be happy to help. We don't go into lower timeframes here that much because it could change within a matter of hours when the market opens, or a matter of days. So we're just going to give you a general bias, higher timeframe direction, and then you can take a trade based off of that on lower timeframes at your discretion. Last one I want to go over is NZD CAD. Now I really, really wanted this level to be met. Okay, we can see the last sell to buy in here after we broke structure. Now let me do a little bit of a top down so you understand exactly what I'm saying. So we had equal lows all the way down in here, a higher time frame equal lows. We swept that very, very strongly, swiftly, sweep, impulse to the upside. Okay, so that was a sweep of liquidity. All right, we never really closed below this level because we wicked it and then continued. All right, so now we have to identify our swing points. Are we going to be in for a higher time frame pullback? Exactly, I think we are, because we swept this higher time frame liquidity very nicely. All right, we can see higher high, higher low, higher high. So we are looking for that higher low. we can see in here that we did fill in balance quite nicely within this blue region. Sweeping liquidity in here, sell to buy, creating this demand level right in here. We came down, tapped that demand level perfectly as indicated there. I'll just go over to the 4-hour time frame to show you better. Really just anywhere in sort of this region that swept liquidity. Okay, last impulse to the downside, creating this demand level here, we had a rise. So we came down, tested that level, swept this liquidity in here, and now we're looking to impulse to the upside. What gave me the conviction that we are going to continue long was because of the counter trend break in structure, which we teach in the course. Not hard to understand. As you can see, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, break of structure, higher high. We broke the counter trend. I was hoping we'd get back down into this discounted region of price, the open and the 50% of this last sell to buy. We never got that, unfortunately, so obviously we didn't take a trade. But what we can do is we can see that, okay, well, higher time frame, daily time frame, we are making higher time frame swing points. So yes, this was a mini trend on its own and we broke. We never got the test, but we can see higher high, higher low, higher high. We could have an overall pullback and finally come down and hit this sort of level at 0.8712, sweeping this liquidity here and finally testing that level. So we're just gonna have to be patient. We are looking for an XXX CAD to short off. So we could just be in for an overall pullback and then we'll look to buy it when it gets down into sort of this region. Could be a great, phenomenal risk to reward. All right, that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it and took some value from it. Again, if you have any questions, please let us know. We are only trading for the next 2 weeks up until about, let me see the exact date, up until the 11th of December, because that Monday, the 14th, is mid-December. That's when volume starts to slow down, and we do not look to trade during those times. Just from experience, when I first started trading, within my first couple years, I did not find late December trading beneficial at all. In fact, I lost quite a bit of money. So we are going to halt on our trading and start up mid-January. Mid-January is when we really just want to, well, in the beginning of January, we want to see how the markets open to start the new year. I'm sure there's going to be crazy movements to start, so we want just to let it, catch its feet, just settle the dust a little bit. So we want to catch up back up around January 15th. So mid-January, that's when we'll start back up. So about to take a month off, spend time with your family, enjoy the holiday, and we'll get back to trading then. So until then, we have about 2 weeks of trading. Then we'll take our time off. So that is all I have for you guys today. Again, if you have any questions, please let us know. We'll be happy to help, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much.